if you knew how the internet works, you wouldn't use it.
Welcome to the show. Today we're talking about cybersecurity, espionage, and hackers. That's right, we're talking about the 21st century battlefield, where soldiers never die, they just get reprogrammed.
Shall we play a game?
So why are we talking about this? Because of Russia, Trump, and Snowden. Over the last US election between Trump and Hillary, many news outlets blamed Russia of cyber attacks on the DNC and working with WikiLeaks to release damaging emails from Hillary's hacked private email server. While Hillary pointed the finger at Russia, Trump was quick to blame China.
The Russians, and according to the reporting, who did this hacking were most likely in the employment of the Russian government.
I don't think anybody knows it was Russia that broke into the DNC. She's saying Russia, 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 but maybe it was. I mean, it could be Russia, but it could also be China. It could also be lots of other people. It also could be somebody sitting on their bed that weighs 400 pounds, okay?
As you know, the final outcome was Trump won the election and still sees China as a threat. What does this mean for the future? Well, currently the US, China, Russia, and Iran, along with many other countries, are caught in a massive information war. Although most high-ranking officials will deny the existence of this new cyber war, it is a battle with clear winners and losers.
I do believe that the cyber threat will equal or surpass the threat from counterterrorism in the foreseeable future.
There's a strong likelihood that the next Pearl Harbor that we confront could very well be a cyber attack.
We will suffer a catastrophic cyber attack. The clock is ticking.
The most notable cyber attack with physical consequences was Stuxnet. This was a cyber attack on an Iranian nuclear facility believed to be developed by the US in Israel. The purpose of the attack was to disrupt centrifuge operational capabilities, disabling Iran's uranium enrichment program. This operation was discovered in 2010, but the origins date back to November 2007, with development as early as 2005. That was over 10 years ago.
How long was the Stuxnet code?
You're talking tens of thousands of lines of code, a very, very long project, very well written, very professionally written, and very difficult to analyze.
Unlike the millions of worms and viruses that turn up on the internet every year, this one was not trying to steal passwords, identities, or money. Stuxnet appeared to be crawling around the world computer by computer, looking for some sort of industrial operation that was using a specific piece of equipment, a Siemens S7300 programmable logic controller.
Today, there are many state and non-state actors hacking everything. Companies that hold financial data, intellectual property, and state secrets are often targeted. The US has been quick to blame China and other countries, but when we look at the evidence presented, the US is believed to be responsible for some of the biggest hacks in history. Most of the evidence was exposed by Edward Snowden, who was an employee for the CIA and a contract worker for the NSA. Snowden exposed a massive surveillance program that spied on both foreign and domestic targets. This program, codenamed PRISM, was designed to collect information from at least 9 major US internet companies.
Talk a little bit about how the American surveillance state actually functions. Does it target the actions of Americans?
NSA and the intelligence community in general is focused on getting intelligence wherever it can by any means possible that it believes on the grounds of sort of a self-certification that they serve the national interest. Originally, we saw that focus very narrowly tailored as foreign intelligence gathered overseas. Now, increasingly, we see that it's happening domestically. And to do that, the NSA specifically targets the communications of everyone. It ingests them by default. It collects them in its system, and it filters them, and it analyzes them, and it measures them, and it stores them for periods of time, simply because that's the easiest, most efficient, and most valuable way to achieve these ends. So while they may be intending to target someone associated with a foreign government or someone that they suspect of terrorism, they're collecting your communications to do so. Any analyst at any time can target anyone, any selector anywhere. Where those communications will be picked up depends on the range of the sensor networks and the authorities that that analyst is empowered with. Not all analysts have the ability to target everything, but I, sitting at my desk, certainly had the authorities to wiretap anyone, from you or your accountant to a federal judge to even the president if I had a personal email.
Although Snowden remains a controversial figure in the international community, he did help expose the extent of this new global virtual battlefield. Snowden's disclosures included statements that government agencies such as the United Kingdom's GCHQ also undertook mass interception and tracking of internet and communication data. There was also allegations that the NSA engaged in dangerous and criminal activity by hacking civilian infrastructure networks in other countries such as universities, hospitals, and private businesses. This new virtual threat has left many countries and individuals vulnerable. China is often criticized for restricting major U.S. internet companies from operating freely in China, but after the Snowden leaks, it became clear that China was protecting its citizens and national interests. Companies like Google, YouTube, Microsoft, and Facebook are forced to release sensitive user data to the U.S. government, data that could include many Chinese citizens' personal information if those companies operated freely in China. When nuclear power plants can be disrupted with a code, or military facilities breached by an invisible enemy, countries like China will protect its cyberspace sovereignty and national security against foreign and domestic attacks. If that requires blocking harmful sites or disabling harmful actors, China, just like any other country, can and will defend itself. But China is not only concerned about its own national security. According to the Wall Street Journal, earlier this year, China led Russia and some Asian governments in proposing the United Nations adopt an internet code of conduct that would effectively give every government a veto over technical protocols interlinking the global internet. China is hoping to create a rule book or code of conduct to help prevent future attacks. If all governments agree to the same rules of engagement, it will allow for better security and help distinguish between state actors and non-state actors. This could help prevent a cyber conflict from escalating into a physical conflict.
Greetings, Professor Falcon. Strange game. The only winning move is not to play. How about a nice game of chess?
For now, China will work with other countries to create a safe and secure cyber environment while maintaining its cyberspace sovereignty. China will continue to protect its data, citizens, and nation from hostile actors and help safeguard the future. Countries may not always agree on how the internet should be protected, but they do understand that the current situation cannot continue forever. Until next time, I'm your host Miguel, and this has been A Look at China.